History called her a seductress, but Rome feared her mind. She spoke the languages of empires, wore the crown of Isis, and bent the most powerful men on earth to her will. When Cleopatra fell, an ancient world died with her. This is not a love story. This is the rise of the last goddess. Cleopatra VII Philopator was born in 69 BC in Alexandria, the most brilliant city of the ancient world. This was no ordinary capital. It was a city of scholars, philosophers, astronomers, and rulers. The legendary Library of Alexandria stood as the brain of civilization itself. Cleopatra was born into the Ptolemaic dynasty, Greek rulers who had governed Egypt for nearly 300 years. But unlike her ancestors, Cleopatra did something radical. She learned Egyptian. She spoke Greek, Egyptian, Latin, and several other languages fluently. She studied philosophy, mathematics, medicine, economics, and politics. This was not the education of a consort. This was the training of a ruler. From the very beginning, Cleopatra understood one fundamental truth: knowledge is power. In 51 BC, Cleopatra ascended the throne at just 18 years old. Egypt was immensely rich but fragile. The Roman Republic was expanding like a storm across the Mediterranean, and Cleopatra's own family was her greatest threat. Power slipped from her hands. Within 2 years, Cleopatra was betrayed and exiled from her own kingdom. But exile did not break her. It sharpened her resolve. She knew she would return. In 48 BC, Julius Caesar arrived in Alexandria. Rome's most powerful man, fresh from his victory in a brutal civil war, had come to Egypt. Cleopatra saw her opportunity. Legend says she entered Caesar's chambers hidden in a roll of cloth, a dramatic entrance for sure, but what truly mattered was not the spectacle. It was the conversation that followed. Two brilliant strategists met. Two empires measured each other's strength. Cleopatra offered Caesar something no one else could: Egypt's incredible wealth, its loyalty, and its stability. In return, Caesar offered her the one thing she needed most: power. With Roman backing, Cleopatra reclaimed her throne. But make no mistake, she was no one's puppet. She ruled Egypt. Rome merely benefited from her alliance. Cleopatra understood something Rome never did. In Egypt, belief ruled empires. So, she masterfully presented herself as the reincarnation of Isis, the goddess of kingship, motherhood, and divine order. Temples echoed with her name. Coins were minted bearing her image. The people of Egypt followed her not out of fear but out of reverence. She then gave birth to a son, Caesarion, boldly declaring him the son of Julius Caesar. With this single act, Cleopatra was no longer just a queen. She was the founder of a new dynasty. Then, Rome shattered itself. In 44 BC, Julius Caesar was assassinated on the floor of the Senate. The Roman world was thrown into chaos. Cleopatra, realizing the immediate danger, returned to Egypt swiftly. As Rome descended into yet another civil war, Cleopatra waited. She watched. And she planned. Her moment came in 41 BC, when she met Mark Antony. Her arrival to meet him was legendary. Gold-lined ships with purple sails, propelled by silver oars, moved up the river on perfumed winds. But behind all this incredible spectacle stood cold, hard strategy. Cleopatra needed a powerful Roman ally to secure her throne. Antony needed Egypt's vast wealth to fund his armies. Their union was political, but it grew into something incredibly powerful. Together, they ruled the Eastern Mediterranean like gods on earth. Cleopatra was now at the absolute height of her power. She governed Egypt's economy with a skilled hand. She controlled the vital grain supplies that fed Rome itself. She negotiated with foreign kingdoms. As an equal, the Roman world depended on Egypt's food, and Egypt depended on Cleopatra. In 34 BC, Antony held a grand celebration in Alexandria, granting vast lands to Cleopatra and her children. This act sent a shockwave through Rome. The city panicked. In Rome, Caesar's heir, Octavian, the man who would become Emperor Augustus, needed a villain, and he chose Cleopatra. He launched a vicious propaganda war against her. She was painted as a foreign witch, a dangerous seductress, a decadent queen who threatened the very fabric of Roman order. But the truth was simpler, and far more threatening to men like Octavian. Rome didn't fear her beauty, it feared her intellect, her ambition, her power. In 31 BC, everything collapsed at the naval battle of Actium. Octavian's fleet crushed the forces of Antony and Cleopatra. Cleopatra retreated to Egypt, her fleet shattered. Rome closed in for the final strike. In 30 BC, Octavian entered Alexandria as a conqueror. Cleopatra faced an unbearable future: humiliation, capture, being paraded through the streets of Rome in chains, and the complete erasure of her legacy. She refused. Cleopatra chose her own ending. Her death marked the end of the Pharaohs. It was the end of an independent, ancient Egypt. It was the beginning of Roman rule. Rome conquered Egypt, but it never conquered Cleopatra. She lives on in history, in myth, and in our collective memory. Her enemies tried to erase her, to brand her as a villain, but they failed. She did not just rule like a goddess, she became one. Empires fall, legends remain. If ancient history fascinates you, like this video, and subscribe for more stories of the queens who ruled like gods.